Hi there, welcome back. This session I've got a continuation of the grip video or grip session that we looked at last time. So last time we looked at how the body can affect and how the hands and the grip goes onto the golf club. And this time what we'll see very common, so this is one of the most common problems we tend to see with people's grip, and it has a really big influence on the rest of the swing. So you know, if you're finding maybe your grip's not quite comfortable, or you don't think your grip's quite right, or the club face does certain things in your swing that, you know, maybe it's too closed or too open, then this is definitely a good clip to keep watching. So we looked at the body. The other thing I want to look at today is a little bit how the wrists should be positioned, and then how the club should be resting in terms of on the pad of your left hand or right hand for a left-handed golfer. So typically what I'd see is when people grip it is that they grip it too much up the palm or the lifeline of the lead hand, the front arm. So left hand for right-handed golfers and right hand for left-handed golfers. We'll show you some close-ups of this as well in a moment, so don't worry if this isn't completely clear. So it tends to be too much up the palm here, and then when you try and move the club, it will restrict your wrist motion, so I'm struggling to be able to hinge or move my wrist correctly here. And when you take the club back as well, it can make the club face close quite a lot, so the toe looks down, and it can also influence the body and the club to move in the wrong order. So more what we're looking for is the club to be positioned so the pad or the fleshy pad here is actually sitting more on top of the golf club, so it'll look more this kind of position rather than up here. And that's going to allow me, if I get that on correctly, to actually move and hinge my wrists a lot easier and get the correct movement and the correct order at the start of my swing. This is also going to help with the club face and how that reacts in the swing as well. So the thing I want to show you is the wrist angles, which we briefly touched on before, but we'll want to go over that again because that's really important for the club face. So when I've got this placed more on top of the club with my pad, so I feel like I'm having to lift my hand up a little bit and drop it on top of the club here. What I'm looking for from the front with my wrists is something like this. So this wrist will be relatively flat, might not be perfectly flat, but it's not going to be sort of kinked in like that. And this one has got a bit of angle here. So most common grips or wrist angles that you see that you get problems with is the one where we get this one where the wrists are back. So this wrist is very straight and this is bent. This causes kind of too much dragging or the club face to stay very closed or toe down on the first move. Then the other one we typically see would be where the right arms are very straight or over the top like this. It makes this right hand look very weak. So from the back that would look something like this, and what that tends to do is make you fan or roll the face open, so the club face would be opening up here on the way back. So if that happens, you're more likely to cut shots or fade or slice on the way through. Okay, I'm just going to run through a close-up of this grip for you so we can clearly see what I'm going on about. So we tend to see a bit too much of this maybe on the palmy style grip, or the shaft and the forearm too much in line here. And then this fleshy pad isn't really sitting on the top edge of the club here, and this is hard for the club to be stable, so it's quite loose here and it can easily move around. If I can get my hand and my pad a bit more up and on top of the grip here, I can actually support the club with my pad and my finger, and I can get a much more secure grip, and it's easier for my wrist to move and wrist to hinge. So this can feel a little bit awkward when you're used to being here and then you're trying to sort of get your hand really up and on top of the club. This is a problem that I've had in my swing, and this made a really big difference to me. So from the front angle, what we tend to see if you get too much of this palmy grip is that your hands would look like a bit like this. So this left hand will probably look like it's, you know, sort of coming off, or it doesn't look very secure on the grip, and the right hand will look a little bit like this. So what we're looking for is again getting that left hand more on top with the pad, and then it will give me a much more secure grip at the front here, and then I'm going to be able to move the club in a better sequence or order and keep the club face more neutral as well. Okay, I hope this close-up helped. Go and have a go, and I guarantee it's going to help with this, how secure the grip feels for you and how well you can move the club. So a couple of bits for you there. A little bit with how the pads of the lead hands placed on the club, really important that. Get it away from that too much up the palm of the lifeline. That's more like a putting grip, and more into here. And then have a check of your wrist angles from the front. And I guarantee that's going to make a massive difference to how the club moves at the start of your swing, what the club face does, and then ultimately how successful you are back at the ball. Okay, that's it for this session. I hope you enjoyed this video. Would love to get any of your feedback, so please post that up, and I'll see you all next time.